second attempt to do this. I'm going to cover the main event first, just because there's a lot to say about it, and that's all there is to it. I may just basically gloss over the undercard, but this was an amazing event. If you have not seen this event, go watch it before you watch this video, because I don't want to spoil any of the awesomeness that was UFC 139, and that's all there is to it. So go now. Go. Just go. Main event was Dan Henderson versus Shogun Rua, ending a 48-47 decision for Hendo. Going to rant on that a little bit, but I have to say this was the greatest display of heart you're ever going to see in an MMA ring. In a boxing ring, in anything really. Both of these guys recovering from multiple rockings on the feet. Shogun particularly showing the great heart because he was rocked and destroyed early first round, second round, and third round, and came back, and even in the fourth round got beat up again and came back to just, kind of really dominate the end of the rounds. And his cardio was definitely holding out a little bit better than Henderson's, which is understandable. I mean, Henderson's in his 40s. But Henderson just showing, again, the power, his ability to take a punch. I mean, his chin is great. So is Shogun's. Actually, I'm going to rephrase that. Shogun's chin isn't really the deal. It's more his recovery. He's not the most difficult individual in the world to rock. He's just very good at staying alive while rocked and continuing to fight. And that's what he did here. That's what he did for a lot of this. Some good groundwork, some takedowns, some sloppy brawlingness, but some technical mastery. I mean, it's a fight that's hard to explain. You have to watch it. But to the scoring, my point is, I've looked at forums and people have agreed with scoring, and people are going to disagree with me, but I'm going to throw it out here anyways. How is that fifth round for Shogun not a 10-8? And people, the arguments I'm seeing, and this doesn't mean that there's not another one that maybe makes more sense, but the arguments I'm seeing is he wasn't close to ending the fight, and that Henderson was kind of letting him do it. If I let a guy dominate me, does that mean I don't get punished with a 10-8 round? That one I think is just ludicrously retarded. Wasn't in any danger. He was mounted by Shogun. Yes, the shots weren't hard, but what is one of the criteria for stopping a fight in the UFC? Not intelligently defending yourself. At several points, I think Dan Henderson fit that exact statement and could have been stopped. So anyone who thinks that fight wasn't close to being stopped is, I think, also crazy, because the referee, I believe it was Josh Rosenthal, would have been totally within his rights to go, Dan, I need you to do something. I need you to move. I need you to defend yourself, or I'm going to stop this fight. He would have been totally justified many times in doing that. All Henderson did in that round was periodically get back to a half guard, a wide open half guard, which he was mounted again 10 seconds later, easily. And he was outlanded 10-1. 79-8, I believe, is the common score I'm seeing from the assorted CompuBox sites. There's always a little bit different because different sites consider different punches to be landed. But we're seeing about almost a 10-1 ratio. Almost a 10-1 ratio of punches landed for Shogun to Dan Henderson in that fifth round. And people want to counter this by saying, well, then the third round's a 10-8. No, the third round's not a 10-8. If the third round's a 10-8, the fifth round is a 10-7. Because in the third round, Shogun actually was controlling the fight at the end of that round for a bit. Not for any particular length of time. But he had offense. The striking was, I think, something 40-something to 30-something for Henderson. Very close numbers. Numbers aren't everything. Again, Henderson landed the better quality of shots and everything. He rocked Shogun. He almost finished Shogun. But I'm saying that Shogun came back from being rocked and almost finished to actually land offense in comparable numbers to what Henderson landed. Whereas in the fifth round, it's not remotely close. I don't understand how the third round can be seen on the same level of dominance as the fifth round. Earlier in the night, Stephan Bonner got 2 10-8 rounds for doing, I thought, far less with Kyle Kingsbury than what Shogun did in that fifth round. I don't get it. I had it scored a draw, but I was hoping at least one judge would score a draw, because I think a unanimous decision for this particular performance is it is a bit harsh on Shogun because he showed amazing heart. But moving on, because I could go for 15 minutes on this. Vanderlei Silva, Kung Lee. Vanderlei Silva, great game plan. Great game plan. He stayed back and, he said it basically. You don't want to be in medium range with Kung Lee. You want to either be really close or far away. And you can't stay really close without burning your gas tank out when you're at the age of Vanderlei is fight-wise. And your chin is perhaps not the greatest. And people are complaining about him backing up. Are you kidding me? His backing up was the key to him winning the fight because it made it hard for Kung Lee to gauge distances. Kung Lee threw some spinning kicks. Kung Lee gassed himself out while hitting basically air, and Vanderlei was able to counter beautifully. It was a phenomenal game plan. I've never thought of Vanderlei as a game plan guy, but oh my god, this was that fight. He came out and he employed a perfect game plan to eventually knock out Kung Lee. He should still retire though. He's just not the guy he once was, particularly in the chin department, which is huge. And he is going to get hurt at some point, I think. So he should still retire. This is a perfect chance. Fighters have got to take the opportunity to retire on top when they get that opportunity. And that's something that a lot of them don't do. And it's a little heartbreaking, just a little bit, that they don't do this. Moving on, we get to Uriah Faber versus Brian Bowles. Sorry. Just dominance from Faber, which is even people who were calling for Faber to win, I think, were a little surprised by this. We thought Bowles would give him a fight, but oh my god, did he just not really do that? Faber eventually finishing with a guillotine choke, gets sub of the night. Shouldn't have got sub of the night, but I mean, it is what it is. Probably getting a title shot now. We'll keep going. Keep it going. I don't like the idea of him getting a title shot just because he just had one. I would give Barrow a shot at Cruz, and then, Faber can fight him. Faber can go and fight like Jorgensen or something along those lines in a number one contender fight. That's my opinion. Or Torres. That's another one. Then we move on to Martin Kampmann, Rick Story. This was originally announced a split decision. It was corrected to unanimous, which is nice because Kampmann, I think, won this fight all around. Story could possibly pick up the first round. He was very aggressive. He landed some good shots while he was coming forward, controlled the center of the cage, had Kampmann back to the cage quite often, but Kampmann was landing shots, so it probably outlanded him. But it was close. It's a round you can definitely give a Story. Second and third rounds, those Story just didn't have anything. His brawling style was just getting somewhat picked apart by Martin Kampmann, and Martin Kampmann was able to take him down and just kind of dominate him from top position, which was surprising because I don't think anyone particularly saw that coming. But I mean, Martin Kampmann getting me my only win on the main card. My God, did my main card picks suck. Moving on, though, Kyle Kingsbury taking on Stephan Bonnar. Basically, what went wrong here for me and a lot of other people who picked Kingsbury was Kingsbury got taken down. And we figured that. I mean, people forget Stephan Bonnar. Stephan Bonnar got a great ground game. I think it's the strongest point of his game just because, comparatively speaking, a lot of 205ers don't have the strongest game of grappling games. And he came out and he we didn't really think he would be able to take him down because Kingsbury's a stronger, more athletic guy. But I mean, once on the ground, he just dominated and picked up 10-8 rounds, like I said, which is why Shogun should have got a 10-8. But the fans booed. I have a problem with that because, I mean, you're supposed to be educated fans. San Jose fans tend to want to be educated. Dana White brought this up, and I'm stunningly agreeing with Dana White. But what the hell? That was a fine fight. Was it the greatest fight Stephan Bonner's ever been involved in? No. Could it have been a better fight? Yeah, but it's a win. And when you're Stephan Bonner, you need that win. And that's kind of all there is to it. Good job by Bonner picking up the dominant UD. He moves on to bigger and better things. He called it Rampage a little bit, but as much as I would like to see that fight, I think with the fact that Rampage is looking for a more headlining fight, I think you have to wait a while to either build Bonner up to the point where, him in a co-main event, I would say, because he can't really main event, but in a co-main event doesn't look horrendously out of place, or Rampage loses some. As much as that would be an interesting fight, I think it's the timing is all wrong. Anyways, then we had the 2 quick fights on the Spike card. We had Ryan Bader knockout Jason Brills. Jason Brills, see you later. You've been knocked out quickly twice. Your wrestling is not up to elite standards, is I guess where I'm going with that. And you don't really belong. As for Bader, I was thinking give him Phil Davis, but that might be feeding him to the dogs, seeing as he just came coming off a 2-fight losing streak. But that is me. Moving on, we got Michael McDonald knocking out Alex Soto. Someone please test Alex or Michael McDonald with a solid top 10 bantamweight. I would love for that to happen. Not that I think, and for the record, I'm not saying that I think he would lose. I want to see it. I want to see where this kid fits in the upper levels of the division because we haven't seen it. Alex Soto, he'll get another chance. I mean, he took this on short notice. I don't think it particularly matters who he fights, though. I don't really think he's up to UFC caliber. But he might be. He could surprise me. Could be pre-fight jitters. But, I mean, I've seen him before and wasn't hyped for his debut. Let's put it that way. Tom Lawler, Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman tapping out Tom Lawler with a Darce choke. Did a pretty good job there. Didn't look comfortable on the feet again, though, which is weird because he looked most comfortable with the actual striker he fought, Sakara. Go figure. What's next for him? I was thinking Aaron Simpson. What's next for Lawler? Something to kind of rebuild with because I think he needs that win. Unless the UFC basically wants to get him cut because then they can give him something he'll just lose. Dos Anjos Tebow was a pretty solid fight. Tebow taking the UD or a split D. Don't remember this show. It was split. He rocked Dos Anjos heavily in the second round and then almost got rocked himself. That was a bit weird. Little Pat Berry, Chuck Congo moment almost. What's next for Tebow? Give him someone who's a wrestler because he at some point has to prove that he can win a fight where he can't just outmuscle the other fighter. And at some point he's got to prove he can do that. So give him a wrestler who has cardio, unlike Kurt Pellegrino. After that, we had Torres versus Pace. Torres, employing his, I guess people are calling it the boring Torres style. But you know what? He's got to get wins. And that aggressive bonsai style, I think, is problematic for getting the wins. As odd as that sounds. Well, it's not even odd. I mean, it's somewhat common sense. He's got to employ a style that he wants to win. And he does have to get more aggressive than he is, but he's got to find that medium where he can win and be exciting and get back to the title shot. Get, people behind him. And he's working on that. He's getting closer. As for what's next for him, maybe give him Scott Jorgensen. Although I think that's a fight he might lose. But that's the type of fighters you're going to have to beat if you get to the title shot again. And then we had Seth Bekaczynski tapping up Matt Brown. Matt Brown knows submission defense, probably getting cut. Seth Bekaczynski. Kind of want to see him fight John McGuire. Thumbs up if you like that idea. Shamar Bailey, Danny Castillo. Shamar Bailey missing weight. Toodles. Nick Pace also missed weight by a horrendous 6 pounds. Danny Castillo came out, showed Shamar Bailey that, hey, I'm a better wrestler than you. I can take you down, and you have nothing off your back. And your stand-up isn't very good either. And I'm going to take you down. And I'm offended that you missed weight. He made that quite clear in his very deadpanned post-fight interview. But just dominance, first round TKO. The problem is, it's over Shamar Bailey, who, if he was not on tough, would not be in the UFC, and that's kind of all there is to it. And, it's hard to say how much that is really, really worth for Danny Castillo. So I'm not really sure who I want to see him fight next. But anyways, that was the card. It was awesome. Mostly the last 2 fights were awesome, but the main card itself had, none of those fights let down. The Spike card had some quick finishes. The, nothing terribly boring on the undercard. Very good card. Just a very good card. Not card of the year, which some people are claiming, but definitely a fight of the year candidate for the war between Henderson and Shogun. Comment, subscribe, like, favorite, whatever. I'm out.